Welcome to the Story Stalker. I hope you're having a great day today. Thank you for clicking on one of the video, I appreciate it. But if this is your first time in the channel, please consider subscribing, if you like creepypasta and paranormal stories. Click on the notification bell, so that you will be updated with the newest release of the channel. Thank you. We cannot deny the facts that kids' imagination is wild. As a parent or an adult, we tend to be amazed by it, or sometimes we ignored it, due to the fact that we know it's just a kid's imagination. It's normal. But what if you hear something unusual or someone is in danger from a kid's statement? Would you believe it? Will you investigate on it? In today's video, please listen to one of the shared story of a kid from subreddit, No Sleep. It's up to you to decide whether you believe it or not. Or is it kids' imagination?
You're probably thinking this is clickbait or something. It's not. So now you're probably thinking she's in jail, but she isn't. I live with her actually. Her and my uncle and my 2 cousins. I really wish I didn't. See, 3 years ago my mom died unexpectedly. It wasn't completely ridiculous. My parents were elderly and my mom had Alzheimer's and was pretty far down the progression, but the doctor said she was expected to live for quite a while longer. The whole family had met up at my house one night on my mom's birthday. She couldn't go anywhere, so they came to her. We helped her eat ice cream and cheesecake and we sang her favorite songs while she tried to sing along. She was doing better than she had been before. She was sitting up and talking as well as she could. The next day, she was dead. There was no warning or sign, she just died in her sleep and the doctors didn't know why. Most of the family came back again for her funeral that same week. My mom always said when she was younger that she wanted her funeral to be a celebration of her life and not a mourning of her death, so we had a potluck banquet. Very soon afterwards 3 of my cousins died. They lived in different states, but they all died on the same night, all in their sleep. Since my family has a history of sudden heart failure, it was chalked up to that, but I didn't buy it. We held their funerals separately. I went to all 3, but my aunt could only make it to one. Coincidentally, someone else who attended that funeral died. It was one of my other aunts from a different state. I was beginning to notice a pattern. It was a pattern I only saw because of my ADHD. I will pick up on and latch onto very specific memories and details, one of which was the dish my aunt brought to both funerals. She made a macaroni bake, the kind she always made, but most people didn't eat the dish she brought because there were lots of different delicious foods you didn't get often. The 3 cousins who died the first time are very lucky eaters and only liked certain foods, mainly cheese and pasta. I also recall the aunt that had died saying she felt all beforehand and would probably not be eating much. Macaroni was probably the easiest on the stomach that was there. I never said anything because of my tendency to overthink and make connections that didn't exist. Then my house got broken into. It was 5 or so weeks after the 5th death in the family. I had been feeling very depressed lately, and I wasn't sleeping well, so even though it was 4 in the morning, I was awake. I heard the glass shatter in my dad's bedroom and I froze up. I wasn't completely sure that I'd heard what I thought I did. Maybe my dad had left the TV on, maybe it was a background sound in my music I hadn't noticed before. I was playing it pretty loudly from my own TV. I wanted to turn off my music, but it was like I was paralyzed. I could hardly breathe as I strained to listen past the rapid percussion and intense riffs from the metal band I had up. I had gotten like this before. It wasn't uncommon for me to freeze up when afraid, but I never knew how to handle it. I was laying in bed already. The blanket was mostly covering my face and for once it didn't make me feel safer. The door handle started to turn and I closed my eyes and pretended I was sleeping. The music switched off and I heard footsteps approaching. I thought for sure I was going to die, but I tried to tell myself that I didn't hear glass breaking and that my dad was just turning off my music because it woke him up. The smell of my aunt's perfume hit me full force when the footsteps stopped near my bed. I didn't make a sound and forced myself to keep breathing evenly. Eventually, the footsteps retreated. It was a while before I had the courage to move, even longer before I could sneak out into the living room where I had left my phone. I called 911 and told them someone had broken into the house. I only went to check on my dad when I was told police were on their way. I wish I hadn't gone in the room. There was blood all over my dad's neck and chest. I froze up again for a bit before I collapsed and cried. I didn't stop crying until the police showed up. After they calmed me down, I told them everything I remembered, everything I just told you. I told them it was my aunt and they promised to look into it. There was no evidence she had left her house. She lived 2 hours away. I tried to tell them she could have got back in time for her husband and kids to wake up, but they didn't seem to think much of it. They told me it was normal for kids to imagine things in situations like that. But I know what really happened. Apparently, both my mom and my dad had written in their wills that I would be going to live with my aunt and uncle if anything bad happened to them. So that's where I went. I wanted to believe she didn't do it, but recently I found something. I was looking for Tylenol for my headache. I seem to be getting a lot of those since my mom died. Depression, the doctor said. I found an unlabeled bottle and I, curious like I always was, opened it. There was some powder something or other inside and I decided to smell it. I remember it smelled like almonds. I asked my aunt about what was in the bottle and she said not to worry about it. I shrugged it off, and thanks to my short attention span I was watching BuzzFeed Unsolved moments later. I just so happened to be in the Tylenol murders episode in which I was told that the highly deadly poison arsenic smelled like bitter almonds. My blood turned cold before I realized why I should be afraid. I went back to the bathroom to look around for the bottle, but it was gone. We took a trip to the dump that day, which was odd because we didn't have anything big to throw away. We apparently couldn't wait until garbage day. That was a few days ago and I'm terrified. It's harder to sleep now than ever before. I keep hearing people walking around and expecting my aunt to open the door of my room at 4 in the morning. I'm not doing well in school anymore. She knows something's up. I'm posting this on hopes that if I die someone will see this and know what happened to me. I'm not going to confront her or call the police again. I'm not a hero, I'm a scared kid who doesn't want to die. Someone needs to stop her. But that someone won't be me.
Thanks for watching. Please leave a comment down below, on what's your opinion about this story. Is it real? Is there something sinister in the kid's house? Will you help the kid? If you want more of this story, don't forget to subscribe. And a big shout out to I&A Stories. Please check his channel as well, the link is in the description. Here is a sneak peek on one of his video. Thank you again, and see you next time.
Last night, I played Among Us with a bunch of college friends. It's a computer game similar to Mafia. So, you and other players are on a spaceship, and everyone is either a crewmate or an imposter. The crewmates try to complete tasks they're given, and the imposter tries to kill everyone. Well, there's some hacks and some nonsense glitches in the game, but that's the fun of it. And to be honest, most of the games are like this, so I don't mind it until today.